Sometimes it's just absolutely crazy seeing what goes on in the world. Like, we have a situation in which we're about to achieve peace between North and South Korea, or we have achieved peace, or at least they're talking about peace and achieving peace. Who the fuck knows if North Korea is actually going to follow through? Could be that Kim Jong-il's just a little bit less crazy than his dad. But who is seeing this as a good thing? Not rational people definitely are seeing this as a good thing. So I mean, it's not them who are complaining about peace in Korea. No, that's the SJWs and all the crazy leftists. They're literally like, Trump getting a Nobel Peace Prize for something that he did for a peace he helped achieve? What is this nonsense? And I'm just thinking to myself, why are you people so spiteful against peace? It's peace. Like, dude, this is the fucking goal. Like, in my mind, the goal of war should be peace at some point. Like, the goal of war is not to have war for fucking ever. It's to beat the bad guys down and tell them what the fuck they did wrong, and maybe bomb the masculinity out of them altogether, like we did in Japan. That's the point of war. It's to make sure you are secure and you're safe, and other people in your life are secure and safe, and to beat off the baddies. And that's basically it. You can have wars for resources and other bullshit things, but that's not the reason for war, okay? The real reason for war should be self-protection of your culture and your people and your family and yourself. Now, when you start to get beyond that sort of thing, it's just fucking warmongering. And why would you want to have war for the sake of war? Or the sake of profit? That's ridiculous. That's horrifying. And you know what? My culture, my generation has gotten so used to this concept of war. Like, we've been at war for so long. It's been 17 years. Since 2011. Or, 2001, 9/11. And these idiots are complaining that there's finally a little peace going around. It's like, I can't even describe what was going on in my head when all this, it's like, when I heard about the peace, or maybe before I heard about the peace, it's like my brain went silent. It was just like everybody's asleep. And I think it's because finally we have a situation in which something finally got accomplished. Something regarding something that should have actually happened. And what should have happened a long, long time ago is that the United States should have brokered some sort of peace talks between North and South Korea. But you have the issues with the fucking Clintons, who were morons, and they gave North Korea nuclear energy. And they're like, well, you shouldn't refine this into weapons. That would be a bad idea. Red line. And, you know what they immediately started doing? Making weapons grade material. That's what they started trying to do. It's like, goddamn, could the Clintons be any fucking stupider? They only care about themselves, and it's like, everybody fucking hates you. You've destroyed the world. Could you go away now? Could you just leave? Like, nobody wants to hear from Hillary Clinton anymore. Nobody cares about Bubba Bill anymore. And then after the Clintons, you get the Bushes. The Bush. I don't think Papa Bush or Baby Bush did fucking shit to help the North Korean peninsula. If anything, George W. caused more havoc with Russia and all that shit than not. George W. Bush was so busy in Iraq that he had no fucking conception of what was going on in Korea. He completely ignored Korea from my perspective. I might be wrong on that because I was fairly young during his presidency, but I don't remember lots of talks of Korea other than Kim Jong-il, I think that's the daddy, was a lot more fucking crazy than maybe this guy is, because this guy's at least willing to have a conversation. Now, Barack Obama didn't improve matters either, mind you. So how many fucking years have we let this virus just go cancerous over and over again, eating away at North Korea and destroying it completely? Like, how many times have we just fucking ignored those poor people? And it's all about leadership. And then finally we get a leader who's like, you know what, North Korea, I'm actually bigger, stronger, and more intimidating than you, so maybe you should sit the fuck down and broker some peace. That's what Donald Trump did. Like, oh god, these SJWs, they start freaking out about him cyberbullying. That was one of the comments, was like, you don't give your cyber bully credit for world peace or something like that. It's like, dude, no. That's not what Trump did. Trump wasn't bullying them. Trump was responding, and lightly too. Cause a real response for the type of shit that little munchkin up in North Korea was doing should have been bombing the shit out of him. That's what should have happened. And I think Kim Jong-il I don't remember which one's which. Little crazy guy. He's probably thinking that he's probably not that crazy to think that he can survive a mass bombing by U.S. airships. I'm sorry. I know about the U.S. capabilities, and I'm sure North Korea knows at least a little bit about the U.S. capabilities, and they probably know that we could just send a shit ton of drones over here and get rid of the problem. But that's not the way to achieve peace. And so what Trump did was instead of actually going over there and physically bombing the shit out of them and causing more chaos and misery, what he did was he verbally sparred with the man. He verbally sparred with him. How is that bullying? How is that violent? The man threatened to bomb, South Korea multiple times, threatened to bomb Japan multiple times, threatened to even bomb Australia. I don't know what the fuck Australia did, but they were threatening to bomb Australia. They were threatening to bomb Guam. And Trump actually stood up to him and was like, no, you want to rethink that, because if you do that, you're dead, squished like an ant. And it worked. Do these idiots not understand that sometimes being verbally forceful will get you what you want? That's the whole reason why we elected Trump, is because he's a negotiator in chief. It's because he's the money president. It's because he knows how to get good things done. Look, the SJWs and the leftists and the crazies, they all want to focus on his flaws. Okay, fine, you can focus on his flaws if you want to. I don't see a point to that. Yes, we know he's a womanizer. We know he's a little misogynistic. We know his wife Melania is probably at least slightly a trophy wife, if not 90% a trophy wife. We understand all that. We also look at that man and go, God damn, he's built so many beautiful buildings. Maybe he could rebuild this country too. And guess what? He's not doing a fantastic job of it, but he's not doing a terrible job of it, and he's actually fucking trying. Whereas, I don't know, Barack Obama seemed to just want to tear us down and recreate us into something that we're not. Whereas Donald Trump is coming through and going, let's tear out some of these regulations that are restricting our capacity and our ability and our people and causing suffering and pain, and let's rebuild this. But let's rebuild it back to a little bit of what it used to be. in our full glory, when, you know, when we were a real superpower with real economic power, and we didn't have to worry about China and Russia all the time, although we have always worried about Russia. But if Trump can take us back to being a real economic force, China wouldn't be able to stop us. Russia wouldn't be able to stop us. There would be no fucking person in the world who would be able to stop us. And in foreign countries, they would have made in America shit. And there would be very little made in China shit here. Because our manufacturing jobs would start to come back. And people would start having more and more and more middle class households. Land with, you know, a house and a couple kids and dogs and maybe a horse or something. Like, this is like dream level status, is just people being able to do their own shit and have their own freedom. Like, that's why we came to America. My gosh. Like, I love the United States. I love it here. And I love it because we have a constitution that protects us. And I don't understand people who want to tear it apart. I cannot. You don't like the principles, don't live here. And my God, I am not going to be apologetic for wanting to protect those morals and principles that were set forth in our Constitution. You know, the ability to just say what you think. You might be wrong. Okay, be wrong. I want to hear you be wrong. I want to see where you're wrong. I want to know why you're wrong so that I don't make the same mistakes you made. And if you're offensive, I want to hear that too. Because I want to tell you why you're offensive. I want to argue it with you. If you keep your mouth shut, how am I supposed to do that? Like, it's so much more fun when you can argue with somebody. And that's the thing. You stop at the verbal sparring. What Antifa doesn't understand right now is that they are creating this situation in which they're allowing the far right to rise up, or the nationalists to rise up. There's nothing wrong with being nationalistic or patriotic, okay? I'm just gonna put that out there. Now, I lean towards patriotic, okay, more than nationalistic, because, well, I'm a firm believer in the Constitution in this country. I feel like nationalism's a little bit stronger of an emotion than what I feel. I do feel a deep sense of duty and patriotism to this country, and probably, you know, if I had a penis, would die for her. I'm gonna be fucking honest. As a woman, I have no desire to go off in war and destroy myself before I'm able to reproduce. I think that's really fucking stupid. And I think that as a woman who is actually intelligent and not insane and not one of those fucking floozies who's gonna run off and you know, propagate with 5 or 6 different guys, consider I'm not that kind of whore. I think it's better if I stay out of the firing light and raise more women like myself who are not going to screw over the men that they're with. It's just insane to me. We're getting to this point where people would literally prefer war over peace because they hate the president. It's like, no, peace is the point. This is the point. I love my country, so I want peace for my country. I love my country, so I don't want my country off in foreign invasions and stuff like that. I love my country, so I want my country to be the powerhouse of the world. I love my country. So I want this country to do the best it possibly can in the best environment it possibly can. And quite frankly, if we had some sort of iota of world peace, it would be a better environment for the United States. I, being patriotic, mean that I want the entire world to do well, so that my country can do well too. And being patriotic means that I love the people in this country. You know, like, I don't necessarily, nationalism, I feel like, is a little bit more identity based, whereas I'm a patriot. I care about the foundations of this country. I care about the people of this country. I care about the suffering of the people of this country, you know, and that's why I don't want mass immigration. It's why I would prefer there to be peace between the North and South Koreas, so that the Korean Peninsula is not this fucking hotbed of a nuclear power that's just waiting to fucking explode and maybe start World War III if we piss off Russia and somehow in the process, or maybe China. It's a really tumultuous situation. And then at the same time, they want to disarm our people. It's like, dude, you disarm our people, that's it. We're over. China's got like 1 billion soldiers, you know? Like, come on, man. Like, you disarm the U.S. populace, and we would be immediately invaded by China. Because China would be like, oh, those dumb Americans. Alright, let's give every single one of our people a gun. We're gonna go into America and shoot those fuckers. Or enslave them or something, you know. Because I could imagine China doing that. After all, their president just became the dictator, like, essentially, not that that's much of a change, but he's now officially the dictator, just so you know. I mean, come on, guys. Like, you're not dealing with fucking a teddy bear out there, you know. That's not what Kim Jong-il is. He's a man with hydrogen bombs, or at least a hydrogen bomb, or something that looked equivalent to a hydrogen bomb. Even that would be a lot of fucking nuclear material to waste if it wasn't a hydrogen bomb. I'm just saying, they've been experimenting with that sort of thing. It's not a situation you want to deal with kid gloves. Like you can't. At a certain point, you have to approach it like a fucking adult. You can't approach other cultures like they're children. And I think this is one of the problems. It's like, these SJW types, they have this God complex. I literally think they have this God complex, where they think that the U.S. is like heaven or something. Like, we're up here, okay? And then everybody else is all down here. And basically, we should just treat them like children. And, oh, well, if you speak meanly to Kim Jong-il, well, his inferior intellect can't handle that. And so he's just gonna blow us all up. It's like, fuck you. That is not how the real world works. No. Kim Jong-il is a complex man with complex sets of ideas and goals and values. Like, trust me, the man is. Even if he's a fat, disgusting, evil bastard, he still has a complex set of goals and values and beliefs surrounding his life and his leadership and his rulership. You know, he's probably got the chosen one sort of syndrome. You can't approach that man like he's a child. He doesn't think himself a child. You have to approach him like he's an adult, like he's on the same level as you. Do you get that? And maybe you have to dumb yourself down a little, but I don't think so. I think Kim Jong-il probably got the best fucking education in North Korea. And he's gotten shit done since he came into power, too. Like, there's been a lot of testing. There's been a lot of threats. He's been doing a lot of stuff. He's not a child. He's just not. You can't treat him that way. And you can't treat people that way, especially when it leads to war, over and over and over again. It's like, we won't talk about the Muslim problem. Why? Why does Europe keep treating these people who are raping and murdering their small children? Like, literally, they're killing your children and you don't give a fuck. Because you think of them as inferior, and so you have to save them. I'm tired of this stupid fucking messiah complex that these assholes have. You can't save the world by having the entire ginormous, think of the Titanic, but like 15 trillion times bigger. Okay, that's an exaggeration. But think of the Titanic, but like 1,000,000 times bigger, with the same size lifeboats, and everybody's trying to get into one of those lifeboats. It's going to overflow, and you're going to drown. That's the way it is with the decent parts of the world versus the poor parts of the world. And what I'm talking about is, here in America, we are extremely lavish. Have so much opportunity just given to us just by the fact that we're here in this land. And we have so many rich resources. Like, there's no reason for anybody to really go poor here. You can steal enough not to go poor, to go hungry. You can turn in enough bottled cans to not go hungry. You can get a part-time fucking job and not go hungry. There's multiple ways to not go hungry in this land. The problem is that we have a limit. Look, we have so much wealth because we were a little bit isolationist. We didn't let mass migration in. And when we did, we were like, okay, you gotta go settle that land now. We're not gonna give you welfare. We didn't bring people in here to be children. We brought people in here to do shit for us. To act like adults. And we gave them the responsibility that adults would have. Which would be to tame the land. To make it something useful. But no, you people, you want to treat everyone else with kid gloves. You want to treat them like they're inferior to us, and that's fucking ridiculous. Because Kim Jong-il, he was raised in luxury, he was raised with a decent education. He's no different in terms of the things that he probably knows than anybody else. But what is different is his sets of values. He would rather destroy the West. Well, I actually don't. I have no idea what his personal views are. I think he. Actually, considering how fast he engaged in peace talks, I think he just wants to be seen as a player on the world stage. And right now, he's getting a lot of attention. And he's getting a lot of praise. And it probably feels pretty good. And my guess is that Kim Jong-il is getting the sort of recognition that he so craves. Which is another thing, that in it as itself might prevent war. I mean, like, Kim Jong-il's acting like a small child, saber-rattling, and by the way, knowing some psychology is, and calling him acting like a small child, that's one thing. You don't treat a fucking tyrant with a hydrogen bomb like a child, though. You tell them that you'll blow them the shit out of the water if they don't behave themselves. I don't know. These people are so fucked up. They don't give a fuck about children. Like, they encourage abortion and the slaughter of the innocents. These people literally encourage abortion. They're not just pro-choice. They encourage abortion. And so they harm our own children. They advocate for the murder of our own children. And yet they want to treat people who come in and rape and kill our children. They want to give them a pass like they are our children. It's like, fuck you. I want my kids to be safe. I want my babies to not get raped. I want my babies to have a future that's worth living. I don't want my babies to be suffering forever. Like, go fuck yourselves, people. Like, what? This mentality that peace is bad? Where? Where did that come from? No, this is a good thing on the world stage. I don't know where it's gonna lead, and maybe it's gonna lead somewhere worse because everything's a balancing act. But at this point in time, I feel like we're heading in the right direction at least. It's not as dire as it was. And maybe it's just something that's going to hold things back, hold back the hounds of hell from, the gates of hell, I guess. Maybe. But why are people freaking out like this is a bad thing? I just don't understand. And the only thing I can think of is they don't want anybody to be an adult. That's why they kill our children. That's why they treat adults like children. They just wanted to devolve us into something disgusting and ugly and it's like, I didn't know for so long how to be an adult because my generation's not very good at that. But I finally figured it out. It's personal responsibility. It's taken on things that are miserable by choice so that they're less miserable. It's choosing to have responsibility and take on things that are difficult and build relationships with people that is hard. It's really difficult. But that's what it means to be an adult. And being an adult means trying to achieve peace with the people in your life. You either achieve peace with the people in your life so that you can stop warring with yourself, or you cut those people out of your life altogether. I've made peace with my sister time and time again because we fight a lot. But either way, I keep working at the relationship with her because I love her. And I would rather have peace with her because I love her than to be at war with her because I'm spiteful. I've tried to let go a lot of my spite. I'm not going to say I'm perfect, but other people I've had to cut out of my life. I had a friend from high school who decided that I was oppressive because I was white. It doesn't matter that she was white too, or that the other friend she was speaking for was white as well. But they weren't the same type of white as me. She was half Hispanic, the other one was half Afghani. Both extremely white girls, by the way, and extremely Western civilization. But no, they told me I was oppressing them. And so I had to cut them out of my life altogether because I can't be friends with somebody I'm oppressing. That's not what a good person does. So my suggestion for people is, if there is somebody you cannot stand to be around, why would you fight with them? Just leave. Cut them out of your life altogether. And if there's a chance for peace, you need to be adult enough to try to achieve that peace if you're going to stick around with them. Because you can't be warring inside your own head. If you're doing that, that leads to a society that's more prone to war. Like, we have a generations of people, a generation of people right now, or generations, I guess, of people who are so used to war that it's like the everyday fucking thing. They get upset when there's peace because they don't understand how good it is. They were never forced to grow up or achieve peace between two different warring factions, even within their own families. A lot of these people are probably single child households, or and their parents probably spoiled them. There's probably lots of millennials. There's probably lots of single children out there who don't understand. They've never understood what it's like to reconcile with somebody. I watched that between my parents, though, you know. Like, my parents were going to get divorced at one point. And I remember they went off to marriage counseling, so I stayed home, and I made them dinner, and I put it on the back porch for them with some candles, and I think a dessert or something. And then they decided to stay together. Because my parents, for all their flaws, they try to act like adults. They try. When you're a child, you're allowed to be spiteful and angry and vengeful. When you're a child, you're allowed to throw temper tantrums and throw fits. When you're a child, you are allowed to ignore the things that are most important because somebody's there pointing you back in the right direction. And the only person my parents had to do that was me. And that one dinner, to remind them that there was something outside of themselves, they were adult enough to realize that. I didn't know what I was doing at the time. I just knew I didn't want my mom and dad to get divorced. And my mom and dad, they got the fucking hint. And they decided to act like adults. and broker peace between them. And guess what? Maybe my dad would have been happier in the long run being originally married to somebody else who was more outgoing, who was less, who took care of themselves better, who didn't have depression issues and stuff like that. Maybe life would have been better. And maybe my mom's life would have been better if she'd married somebody else. But guess what? They didn't have that choice anymore. They had me and my sister and a house and a life and a narrative that they had just built together. And what were they gonna do? Just completely tear that apart because they were spiteful people who couldn't work on their issues? And I'm so glad that I have such a strong example in my parents as to what to do in the face of adversity. And what you do when you have somebody that you love but you can't stand, you gotta work on it. You either work on it or you cut them out. And if you've built a life together, you can't cut them out. If you've built a narrative together that is strong and has children revolving around it and people looking at you and careers attached and everything, you have to be adult to not destroy that. And you have to be adult to know how to broker and build peace. Donald Trump is acting like an adult. He might be an off-the-wall adult who does not act like a small child should act in a preschool. But we're not in preschool anymore, people. We're dealing with a man who is a spoiled brat across the ocean who has a hydrogen bomb. It's good that he wants peace. It's good that he wants to reconcile. It's good that he wants to stop being a spoiled fucking brat. These are good things. I'm baffled I have to explain this. I think I'm gonna end my video there, because otherwise I won't have any time to eat breakfast. But yeah, I mean, just think about it. If you're arguing for war, what sort of spiteful cunt do you have to be? Holy shit!